Hello, I am Tyease My Chinese name is Tai-yun. Warrior in heaven sent in peace, Hong. By family, we were all given names connected to our black history in the United States of America. For my students, they were given names because of their characteristics and not because of the way things are in the United States society. So, praise song Hong, railroad worker Hong, which we considered family, is the Chinese man up from the railroad that gave us our kung fu. Freedom Hong, the first of our family that was either born, it was born a free man, not having to live in the ideas of the shackles of oppression. So I have students. There's one student whose Chinese name points to Norse wolf or North wolf. I have a student known as the Learned One. I have a student who is Golden Lion. I have a student who is Justice because he was working on his law degree and has his law degree and has been appointed as a lawyer in his district. So many different names out here that I've been given over time since I was 14. And now we come to the family legacy that 130 years from the time of 1895 to now, we have had 3 generations of men from railroad worker Hong who has kept this martial knowledge. And I am so blessed to say that I am still keeping it going. And also understanding that I may be the last of the bloodline that can say that's how that family has spread or continued the knowledge of the way of Kung Fu. So I'm going to get into this because I wrote a lot. I am a teacher by way of knowledge called Kung Fu, and the particular Kung Fu that I have considered what I want to be known for the rest of my life is Wing Chun. I will not get into the semantics of whether one wants to say Wing Sun or Wing Chun. However way you want to spell it, let it be known, this is the Hong Kong-based system because of a man by the name of Ma, who ended up teaching it in Hong Kong until his passing. He is the teacher of who many MMA people called the father of MMA, or one of the fathers of MMA, Lee Jun Fan or Bruce Lee. Under the Ip Man tree, there is a branch, and that branch was a senior student by the name of Moy Yat, who came here teaching Wing Chun in the United States And if we really want to talk how interesting this man was, this man lived in the boogie down Bronx at the birth of hip hop, when the Bronx was burning. I want you to remember the same time More Yacht landed was around the same time you had DJ Kool Herc, Grandmaster Flash, Africa Bambaataa, and so on and so forth, starting the roadblocks, which is now hip hop, which is rap. Rap and hip hop going hand in hand, and that culture. It was a dangerous time in the Bronx, and that man survived. That shows the wisdom of his kung fu. And I want you to keep that in mind as I keep reading. I come to you not just as a teacher of Wing Chun Kung Fu, but as a martial artist who has had 41 years to get it right mentally, spiritually, physically, and emotionally, to mature and perfect my role as a self-disciplined student of wisdom and knowledge. The first knowledge, we're getting started. The first knowledge one should know in Kung Fu is the idea that excellence comes through hard work. It is the only idea that does not spell out an act of fighting like karate or empty hand. The first Kung Fu is not a punch, block, or kick. The first Kung Fu is wisdom of self-discipline, as taught by an elder to a learner. This is not an age factor. The young can teach the old new things, not trying to be a minister. However, the first ministry taught from a 12-year-old Jesus was to older teachers in a synagogue. In the martial arts, there's yin and yang. There is hard and there is soft, rock and water. Rock is seen as strength, but weakness is the water that cuts into and wears down the rock. Water yields, is soft and humble. Humility is the subject of my speech for the 130th anniversary of our school's history. Being humble is the highest form of greatness, of people, kings, teachers, etc. My mother's strength at her highest was when she cried from life being so hard knocked one night. The next day, she went back to a 12-hour shift job unfazed. We all have seen this from our parents and or grandparents. From a weakness, greatness is. So here's my question to all of you. So why are you acting so superior Through your superiority, you show your weakness with your so-called strength. Everyone has three faces. One you only show to yourself, and you see yourself as weak. In front of people and friends, you step strong. This is the way of a liar. Any fool can see through that. Humbleness is an attribute of true mastery. Humbleness does not boast or gives avenues to boasting about self. Humbleness respects others, valuing others' contributions and opinions. Humbleness is the openness to feedback and willingness to fix mistakes and learn from such. Humbleness is being thankful for those who uplifted you and helped you succeed. Humbleness is lacking entitledness. You don't need or feel the need or want special treatment. When I told you, especially my students, I am a tiger, I was not talking about some zodiac, either Chinese or here in the Western world. I mentioned this tiger for the good as well as the evil or bad. I mentioned the tiger for its faults in skill and its good in skill. This includes good and bad attitude and such. Well, question. Who corrected me? Who corrected me? Who ordered my steps to align the straight path? Who guided me to truth? The dragon did. People look at the fight between the tiger and the dragon and only assume a physical one. That is why any of you act so bold and so strong in body, and yet you are mentally and emotionally crumbling. If you challenge one greater than yourself, you will lose. Anytime you want to start a battle, you have already lost in hopes to win. That is not self-discipline, and that is not humbleness. If you see the tiger come up the mountain like Moses and return from the mountain, from that mountain, that tiger came down with new knowledge, new understanding, new direction. Question: When the dragon dies or leaves this world, who in the earth is there to teach the knowledge of the dragon but the tiger who has actually met with the dragon? Question. If you're an alligator, yes, it's kind of a joke, snake, or whatever, and you learn from that tiger who was taught by the dragon, would that animal be any lesser than? This tiger will bow to an ant. If the ant gives or is giving, supreme knowledge that will better the tiger's nature. Why are any of you threatened? It is a superiority complex you must shake off. Did I not say earlier that the young can teach the old? That goes for all, big and small. Don't cry for your respect. That is an act of entitlement. That is not humility. Be humble, be water. In my last and closing, humility is the highest of mastery. In Ip Man's Wing Chun, there's a form called Sunum Dao. Sunum Dao is the first form of Wing Chun, and it is often the most disrespected of all the Wing Chun forms. After one completes the entire system, here it is. That student who completed that journey only becomes a master when their eyes are open, awakened, realizing that Sunum Dao is actually the master form. Sunum Dao is the trees. Most students cannot see the force behind the trees. What is behind the trees? A young forest. Young forest is the English way of saying Shaolin. Shaolin Temple. And during spring, its beauty is everlasting and forever. Or Wing Chun. I hope what I said gave you a revelation of change, what you need to become, as this video will also be a reminder to me to also stay humble. Be like water. Ip Man told Bruce Lee that, and Bruce Lee told the world that. Peace and blessings with and to all of you.